Hello everyone, and welcome back to Castlevania the Lecarde Chronicles 2. It's time for us to start exploring this little piece of France. And this is a very nasty, I guess you could call it a room. There's a portal right there, and a piece of cash that I can't get yet. And this area is very dangerous because it's full of water and things that like to knock you into water. Floating eyes, bone-throwing skeletons, and Medusa heads are all here. Here's the chain that'll pull you back out of the water. But as long as you have some kind of decent sub-weapon, you should be fine. Medusa heads, while annoying, are not big on having health. Skeleton musketeers. Because of course there are. And we found the Breaker Gauntlet. We don't open those locks with keys, you see. We just needed something that'll help us bust them wide open. And there are a couple of locks we can break thanks to this, and they're both fairly close to each other. So we're going to be doing some exploring. I went for the sword rather than the armor in the previous town, and contrary to what I believed, it doesn't actually hurt me that much in this particular segment. Bad jumping, however, will hurt me every time. Now, there is stuff worth getting down there, but we're going to have to wait a while to actually get it. Ah, the boomerang. Is there anything it can't do? Save me from bad jumping, apparently. Oh, well. This is just going to happen sometimes. My platforming has never been all that great, even back in the days when platforming was more of a genre. Which is especially nasty considering that the very first Castlevania game that we actually owned ourselves was Castlevania 3. Which, as most of you who are watching this know, was very much one of the classic Castlevania games. Let's talk to more people now that it's daylight. Yeah, we beat the Von Wildheims. Someone beat the Von Wildheims. Huh. Well, how about that? Yeah, that's gonna be a thing later. Ah, that must be the girl we saw in our visions at the beginning of the game. Toward east. Her parents are broken down. Yeah, we've been there. Well, let's not go that far. We haven't really had a chance to sort things out at the root level yet. Huh. Okay, first we'll take care of the monster in the park. Okay, so this is basically a super plant. We can only damage it by hitting it in the head. It has around 4,000 hit points, and it'll hit us for about 70 to 80 if it gets any of its projectiles on us. So basically it has about as many hit points as a later game boss and hits about as hard as a later game boss. Thankfully, its patterns are very easy. There's just a huge punishment for not doing it right. Oh yeah, and you can't block its projectiles either. With your spinny thing move. Still, you do actually get a couple of really good things from beating it. And I can beat it right now, so there's no reason not to give it a go. It attacks at pretty regular intervals, so you know exactly how much safe time you have between shots. And there we go, we get 1,000 cash, and a special item from the priest. Alright, we did the quest, give us the loot. Okay, the Gale Headband is an item that I won't be using that much personally, but could be extremely useful, because what it does is it decreases the rate that your whirlwind attack uses hearts. It allows you to use it for longer, and so remain safe for a bit longer than normal. A mysterious man, huh? Long Platinum here, appeared young, went to the convent? Boy, that sounds like a suspicious scoundrel. Let's go after him. Still can't afford the armor, but I think we'll be fine. More fighting these guys. Yeah, the mermen are actually a pretty easy place to refill on hearts, and that's actually going to be important later. Because, well... Oh, hello there. Because while money is usually the most important thing for buying stuff in this game, there is an item that you have to buy with hearts. Because, after all, this is Super Simon's Quest. We can't go through that door yet. We need a little help. Always hack at walls in these alcoves. They don't always break, but they can lead to good things. Say that, one of the crucifixes disappeared when a new nun joined Constance of Albury. Ah, well, it's probably nothing. This room, pretty nasty. Yeah, this is around when the game starts to get a little bit vicious with its platforming. But the king of vicious platforming has yet to reveal itself. I'll be taking that. Book of the Crucifixes. I hope you're writing this down. Because that's a solution to a puzzle we can't actually get to right now. I'll be taking that, so now we can afford the armor. And, oh, what's this place?
What was that? That emblem. You're a member of the Lecarde clan. Let me introduce myself. I am Alucard. Do not fear. My intentions are good. I traveled here in search of an item stolen from my family long ago. I now must continue my search. By the way, I have something that may be useful to you. Perhaps we will meet again. Good luck.
Okay, 3 things. First off, yeah, that was Robert Belgrade doing another turn as Alucard. Second, there's actually a reason for Alucard to show up in this story. Because in Castlevania Bloodlines, Eric Lecarde used a weapon that was mistranslated in the English versions, but is actually supposed to be called the Alucard Spear, which meant that someone in the Lecarde family had to have met Alucard at some point before Castlevania Bloodlines. So, it's not just pointless fan service. There's a reason for him to exist. Third, it appears that Alucard is somewhat more mellow when Dracula isn't awake. Ah, Guernon University. And thank you, Storm Pendant. Okay, we can't actually finish this area quite yet because we don't have all of the tools we need to navigate the rest of the convent. Which is why we're going to have to go to school. Thankfully, the exit is not too far from here. However, the road to and from Guernon University is actually one of the nastiest areas in the game. And there's a very distinct reason for that. Which I will explain once we actually get there. But we need to stop by in town for a bit to grab ourselves some new armor. And there we go. By the way, I believe that the daytime and nighttime themes in this area come from Castlevania The Adventure 2. I know one of them is from the Cloud Castle in Castlevania Adventure 2, but I don't know where the other theme comes from. I'm sorry, I'm not as familiar with the Game Boy games, except maybe Castlevania Legend. Yeah, speaking of which, I actually like how Alucard's Symphony of the Night redesign very quickly displaced all other previous designs of Alucard, of which there were only one, actually, but... yeah, Castlevania Legends used it, even though it took place before Castlevania 3. The Castlevania Netflix series uses that, even though that actually is Castlevania 3. and Alucard switches over to it in the Julius mode of Dawn of Sorrow. Okay, here's why this area is nasty. Because all of these plant monsters cause weakness. And weakness triples the damage we are going to take from anything and everything that does damage, and that includes drowning. And I believe we'll have a glimpse of exactly how dangerous weakness is around here. Hey, extra cash. Yep, that's a pretty good taste. Thankfully, I have plenty of screen water. I just sort of picked it up along the way. And I also have plenty of hearts for Leopold's alchemy. The rest of the road isn't too bad. It's only really bad if you fall prey to the plants. Okay, let's get taken to school. No, wait, that's actually pretty bad. Okay, you need to equip the Storm Pendant to even get in here. Okay, the Scholars can hurt you a bit, but it's not too bad. And hey, a holy power-up. Okay, that door is locked, so we'll need to do something to, pry it open. Now, the problem with the Skeletal Musketeers is that you pretty much have to guess when they're going to fire, because you need to be in the air when they shoot, otherwise it will be too late. Hello, skeletons. And there's the map of Albury, in case you were wondering where it was.
Listen. Such a beautiful melody. Even in the depths of darkness, music has the power to illuminate the soul. I've no other choice but to stay in the shadows, away from the world of man. But you, Lecarde, seem to walk this path of your own accord. Do not let the blackness envelope your soul. 'Twill serve you well to take this music box.
Okay, so what Alucard just gave us is the sound test item. However, the actual songs are scattered throughout the game, so we won't be able to make much use of it immediately. I don't know if I'll find all of the songs that go in the box. Ah, there's our welcome save point. By the way, it's not always nightfall around here, so you can actually see the day progress through the windows of the university. Okay, that unlocked the door on the top floor that we bypassed earlier. And we're just gonna save again because I'm paranoid. We were already in there. Ugh, whole lot of guys in here. But there's another pile of cash. You know, by the time this area is over, I'll probably be able to afford the life extender back in the city. And I'm not gonna turn down more health. Okay, we can't actually do anything here yet. Maybe once we get better at jumping or something. Okay, chop you up a bit. We're not ready to do anything with that statue yet, but we will be pretty soon. Okay, mini-boss. We have got a poltergeist problem. Thankfully, they don't actually hit very hard, so you can tank this mostly. Okay, there are the instructions for the piano room. I'm going to be back and forth in this room quite a lot, so be patient. Which gives me time to talk about the next holy power we acquired. The third level holy power is Holy Lances, which is basically the dagger storm from Rondo of Blood. It is extremely powerful and almost useless against all except maybe 3 bosses. And that's a definite maybe. The reason is it pins you in place and throws a bunch of daggers, and it costs 25 hearts. And it's pretty much useless against any boss that moves vertically, which is most of them. However, for those bosses that it does work against, it's a godsend. The thing about the holy power attacks, or your super moves in general, is that while charging up, you take double damage. And if you get hit by a boss while you're charging up, well, that's... I wouldn't say it's instant game over, but it's something you want to avoid. Now we save yet again. There we go. We did the SNK super motion. We're good. Okay, we dropped the statue into the basement, which will actually allow us to access another part of the medical school. Once we clear out all the riffraff, of course. I need to find out the origin of the term riffraff. Well, that looks important. Okay, this is the surgery room boss. You need to avoid the reanimated subjects and hit the animating force. Not a particularly complicated boss, but somewhat atmospheric, really. Doesn't hit particularly hard, especially if you got the armor. And it's not that durable either. Just a few more hits and it'll be done. And hey, our life extender. Okay, that allows us to air dash, and we can get a lot of stuff with that. The second consideration is, man, what kind of nonsense went on in that surgery theater? Because there was a lot of anger in that room. I'm beginning to wonder if that demonic force in there was actually animating the spirits of those who died in surgery here, or whether it was just agitating them to do their thing. Okay, now we can actually try navigating this room, and I do mean try. Don't expect much success from me here. I'm gonna be jumping around, not doing well at all. This is fairly typical of the kind of platforming you'll be expected to do in the second half of the game, so get used to all kinds of stuff being thrown at you everywhere. Hello, projectiles, how are you doing today? Knocking me to the start of the area. Well, that's very unkind of you. I have to say, though, that even the worst of Castlevania platforming is still not as bad as some of the other stuff that used to come out of the 90s. Because the Turbo CD version of Valis 3 had some platforming shenanigans that Castlevania wouldn't even dare attempt. Like, imagine areas of a Castlevania game where it was mandatory to use something like Sifa's freeze spell. I'll get it eventually. No! And at least Castlevania usually has good controls. Because decent controls are what saves Castlevania from being an absolutely awful game. You know what? I'm just gonna give this a break and come back here when I have more jumping tools. Because there are more. The double jump and the air dash are not the end of our jumping shenanigans, not by a long shot. We actually have less than half of the jumping-related power-ups in this game. So what I'm just gonna go up and do as soon as I figure out how to jump is go over there and save my game. So next time we will be clearing up some item collection and finishing up the convent. See you then, and goodbye.